Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're listening to this, you're probably running a hotel or a restaurant.
Or both.
Or both, exactly. And you know that feeling, right? When you first open your doors and there's this amazing energy.
Oh yeah, the buzz is incredible. Packed tables every night.
It's fantastic. But how do you keep that going? How do you keep those seats filled month after month, year after year?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? Keeping that momentum.
Exactly. And you're probably here because you're looking for some practical marketing advice, right?
Something you can actually use without getting bogged down in all the theory.
Exactly. No complicated jargon, just real actionable strategies. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the insights of Maurice.
Ah, Maurice. A real expert in the hospitality industry. He's been in the food and beverage world for years.
He really knows his stuff, and he's got some great advice on how to make your restaurant a success, not just for the opening week, but for the long haul.
That's what we're after, right? Longevity. Making sure your business thrives.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. Maurice starts by talking about something really important. What happens after that initial excitement of opening wears off?
Yeah, everyone's curious at first, wants to check out the new place in town.
But that doesn't last forever.
Nope, it fades. And that's when you need a solid marketing strategy to keep things going.
He uses this great example, Frenchie in Paris.
Frenchie, they've been around for a while and they're still super popular.
They haven't just faded into the background.
Not at all.
Hmm.
And Maurice says one of their keys to success is their collaborations with other chefs. Big names, international chefs.
I remember reading about that. They did something with Noma, right?
Yeah, the team from Noma in Copenhagen, it was a huge event.
That kind of partnership must generate so much buzz.
Absolutely. It brings in people who are really passionate about food, the real foodies.
And it's not just about star power. Maurice also talks about Frenchie's seasonal menus.
Oh yeah, they change their menu at the seasons.
And they focus on unique local ingredients. He mentions a Jerusalem artichoke menu they had one winter.
Interesting. I've never had a whole menu dedicated to Jerusalem artichokes.
Me neither. But it sounds amazing, and it shows they really care about quality and seasonality.
Definitely. Keeps things fresh and exciting. And Maurice also mentions their limited time events, like wine dinners and stuff.
So it's like they're always giving people a reason to come back.
Exactly. There's always something new to try.
That's a great takeaway for our listeners. Think about how you can create a calendar of events, special menus, anything that creates a sense of excitement and keeps people coming back for more.
It doesn't have to be a collaboration with a world-famous chef every month, but you can still create that buzz, that anticipation.
For sure. And Maurice also gives some really practical advice, like build relationships with local producers.
Oh, that's so important. Not just for the quality of ingredients.
But for the story, too. People love knowing where their food comes from.
It creates a connection. And then, of course, there's social media. Sharing all of this, the events, the local ingredients, everything.
Keep your restaurant top of mind.
Exactly. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, those collaborations sound great, but they're probably expensive.
Right, not everyone has that kind of budget.
And Maurice addresses that. He says building a strong brand isn't about spending a ton of money on advertising.
It's about having a clear message, a clear identity, knowing what makes you special.
And he uses this really interesting example, Le Relais de Venise in Paris.
Le Relais de Venise.
Yeah, they only have one dish on the menu.
One dish. Yep.
Entrecôte frites, steak and fries, with their secret sauce.
Wow. So simple.
But it works. No menu, no reservations, fixed price.
That's so bold.
But it's become their signature. And they've been incredibly successful. They've even expanded to London and New York.
And there are always lines out the door.
Exactly. It shows that simplicity can be powerful if you do it right.
It's about having that clear identity. And Maurice brings up another example, Le Camion qui Fume.
Le Camion qui Fume. Isn't that a food truck?
Yeah. It was one of the first gourmet food trucks in Paris. They serve these amazing burgers.
So again, a really simple idea, but executed really well.
And they built a huge following without big advertising campaigns.
So it really makes you think, what's your unique selling point? What makes your restaurant stand out?
Is it the local ingredients? A special cooking technique? A unique atmosphere? What's your story?
And Maurice emphasizes that it's not just about the food, it's about the entire experience.
The service, the atmosphere, everything.
And your team is a huge part of that.
They're the ones interacting with customers every day.
Make sure they understand your values, your vision.
They're your brand ambassadors.
Absolutely. And speaking of getting the word out, Maurice talks about the power of PR and word of mouth.
Especially in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, traditional advertising can be expensive and not always effective.
People trust recommendations from friends, family, and even critics.
Exactly. Maurice uses Septime as an example again.
Oh, they've gotten so much positive press.
Yeah, they've been featured in the New York Times, The Guardian, all the big ones.
And they've worked with food bloggers, too.
It's all about getting people talking about your restaurant,
And they participate in local events like food festivals.
putting themselves out there. And Maurice also mentions tickets in Barcelona. They got a lot of attention from Food and Wine magazine.
That's huge.
And they have great social media presence.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
So what are some takeaways for our listeners?
Well, Maurice suggests having a press kit ready. Something that tells your story, highlights what makes you special.
And be proactive. Reach out to local media.
Let them know about your events, your new menus.
And consider inviting food influencers for tastings.
Let them experience your restaurant firsthand.
Now, let's talk about generating buzz before you even open your doors.
The pre-opening phase is crucial.
You can build so much anticipation.
Frenchie did a great job with this. They did pop-up events before they opened.
Oh, that's smart. Give people a taste of what's to come.
And they used Instagram to share behind-the-scenes photos of the renovation process, even test dishes.
People love that kind of sneak peek.
And they had a pre-booking system for their newsletter subscribers.
So you're rewarding people for their early interest.
Exactly. Maurice also mentions Noma's reopening.
Even a world-famous restaurant like Noma knows the importance of building pre-opening buzz.
They shared videos on social media documenting the whole process.
It's all about getting people excited.
So for those of you who are still in the pre-opening phase, make the most of it. Use your storefront to create visual interest.
Even if it's just a sign that says coming soon.
Share progress photos on Instagram.
Host a neighborhood preview event.
People talk, and
Now let's talk about the power of letting people experience your food firsthand.
nothing beats a taste test.
Maurice talks about Comptoir du Relais. They have a stand at the Raspol Organic Market in Paris.
And they give out samples of their daily specials.
I tried their pumpkin soup there one winter. It was delicious.
It's such a simple but effective way to introduce people to your food,
And they introduced their local producers too.
building trust, showing that they care about quality.
And they offer an aperitif to anyone who makes a reservation on the spot.
Genius?
Maurice says they saw a 20% increase in their lunchtime clientele because of this strategy.
Wow, that's impressive.
Maurice also talks about Osteria Francescana. They have a tasting menu that lets diners sample a variety of their signature dishes.
Their 5 ages of Parmesan dish is legendary.
Tasting menus are a great way to showcase your culinary creativity.
And encourage people to come back for the full experience.
So what can our listeners do? Consider offering small appetizers to passersby during slow periods.
Or organize affordable tasting menus during the week.
Participate in local markets and events with samples.
Get your food out there.
Now, let's talk about social media.
It's such a powerful tool, and it's free.
Maurice highlights Le Clown Bar in Paris. They take these beautiful artistic photos of their dishes.
And they often just use a smartphone.
You don't need fancy equipment.
They also share behind-the-scenes stories, like the chef preparing a sauce.
It gives people a glimpse into the heart of your restaurant.
And they engage with their followers, responding to comments.
Building a community.
Marie says that 30% of their bookings come from Instagram.
That's amazing.
Dishoom in London is another great example. They share photos of their dishes, their team, their inspiration.
And they focus on community building.
So, what are some key takeaways? Share a variety of content.
Your dishes, your team, your producers.
Create unique hashtags for your restaurant.
Encourage customers to share their experiences.
Now let's talk about reviews.
Online reviews are so important these days.
They can make or break a restaurant.
Maurice talks about L'Ambroisie in Paris. They take reviews very seriously.
They have rigorous training for their staff, focusing on impeccable service.
They do daily quality checks on every dish.
They even have anonymous in-house visits to make sure everything is perfect.
That's dedication.
Maurice also mentions El Cellar de Can Roca. They have a whole team dedicated to analyzing customer feedback.
So they're constantly looking for ways to improve.
So what can our listeners do? Establish clear procedures for every aspect of your service.
Train your team to handle even difficult customers with grace.
Regularly monitor and analyze your online reviews.
And be prepared to adapt.
Now let's talk about building loyalty.
Turning first-time diners into regulars.
That's the goal.
Maurice uses Chateaubriand in Paris as an example. They have a loyalty program with rewards like a free dessert.
Simple but effective,
They also support local school events.
showing their commitment to the community.
And they offer special off-menu dishes to their regulars.
That's a nice touch.
Maurice also mentions Feviken in Sweden. They work almost exclusively with local farmers.
Sustainability and community focus.
So some takeaways for our listeners. Try to remember your regulars' preferences.
Get involved in local causes.
And create a loyalty program.
Now let's talk about promotions.
Maurice cautions against relying too heavily on discounts.
Yeah, they can devalue your brand.
And attract the wrong kind of customer.
The Big Mama Group has a good approach. They avoid platforms like Groupon.
Instead, they offer exclusive deals to their newsletter subscribers.
And they target discounts during off-peak hours,
Sketch in London offers free cocktails during happy hour.
adding value without discounting their main offerings.
So think about creating value-added offers instead of just straight discounts.
Limit promotions to lower-cost dishes.
And reserve your best offers for your loyal customers.
Finally, let's talk about your online presence.
In today's world, your website is your storefront.
And most people are browsing on their phones.
Septime has a great mobile-friendly website.
It loads quickly, has a clear call to action, and the menu is easy to read.
Maurice says they saw a 40% increase in online bookings after optimizing their site.
The Fat Duck also has a great website. It's responsive, easy to navigate, and the booking system is seamless.
So what can our listeners do? Take a look at your website on your phone.
Make sure it's easy to use and all the information is clear.
Integrate Google Maps so people can easily find you.
And simplify your booking process.
So there you have it. Maurice's insights on how to make your restaurant a success.
It's all about authenticity, consistency, and connecting with your community.
And using those free tools like social media to your advantage.
Be creative, be resourceful, and don't be afraid to experiment.
And remember, it's not just about getting people in the door once.
It's about creating a loyal following who will come back again and again.
So think about what you've learned today.
And ask yourself, what's one strategy you can implement tomorrow to make your restaurant even better?
We'll see you next time.